let me see if I know where I'm going with this. Let's go to the other series. We got the Miami Heat dominating the series against the Pacers right now. Let me tell you something about the Miami Heat.
And I'm surprised
I love that team play. I love that team. Let me hear you. Let me hear your take.
Yes, I'm surprised about that. I thought it was going to be a little bit more competitive, to be honest.
Me too.
But man, Jimmy Butler, man, he is the man. The way that he, motivates the whole team, and I'm so happy for him, man. Watching him play in Minnesota, what he did briefly in Philly, and you notice those two teams how opposite they're going, how well Miami is playing, and how bad Philly is looking, man. And I have a lot to say about that.
I'm like, oof.
We're gonna talk about it, but man,
we will.
We have in Miami, Jimmy Butler dominating, Dragic, which is so lovely to play. See him play. Especially coming from Phoenix and the way that he was playing over there. Adebayo, I mean, he's an all-star.
Love Bam. Bam is a tough guy.
Yes. And in my opinion, even though he didn't play that well, but a nice player that we need to keep an eye is going to be Tyler Hero, a big player for everybody to do. He got
too many, so many young talent and shooters. Robinson, they're playing well. Another prospect. And then they're well coached.
A candidate for Rookie of the Year as well. So it's really interesting. It's really, really, really interesting of how this season has went for Miami. I'm surprised. Like I said, I thought it was a little bit more contested.
Yeah, I thought it would go 6 or 7. I still got Miami beating, but not like this.
You think that we tomorrow night there's some brooms going on, or?
Hey, I believe so. I think the Pacers want to leave. They want to get out of the bubble. Some teams are already, I think. So maybe we're gonna see that Miami and Bucks matchup eventually. That we want so bad. So let's move forward all the way to Sixers and Boston. So this series, Philly, of course, no Ben Simmons, only Joel Embiid doing what he can with that team.
Yep.
Al Horford, that's not a good match for Philly at all to have him playing with Joel Embiid. That series is just, I'll be honest with you, it's been boring.
Yep.
So boring.
I agree.
I thought it could go like it could go like even 5 or 6, but no. They're just going home. What's your take on that series?
Where can I start, man? It's Sixer-wise, I mean, like you said, Joel Embiid right now in this series is what he can do, and I think the advantage of having good players in Boston and with Kemba and Tatum, which in this game he wasn't that particular fantastic this last game, but everybody can have an off game, especially having 31% from the field scoring, but it shows you that Boston is a really good defensive team in that regard. With Jaylen Brown and Marcus Smart and even Enes Kanter as well and Kemba Walker as well, they are really good defensively. But Sixers, I think there will be some few changes. I don't know, player-wise.
I think there's going to be a lot of changes, especially starting with the coach.
Yep, I think that you can notice it. I think that Brett Brown has he doesn't have that much more to give to be able to push the players, to be able to motivate them or anything like that. I don't want to say it's going to be like disrespectful to even say that, but I don't want to imagine that players have probably quit in a way with the coach or anything like that, but it's not the same. They're not reacting to him. Um, to be able to see him motivate that way to the players, but I agree with you. I think that this next season, I won't be surprised if there's a new coach before they start moving players around. They need shooters. They need shooters. Joel Embiid
Yeah.
can't do it all. They need shooters. So before they even switch around, because I think they still have a nice, or even good team to be able to go forward if they are able to have shooters and be able to go on an Eastern run.
Yeah, like I said, they got a couple good players in that team, but they just don't match. Unfortunately, they just don't match. The Sixers don't have a good no.
Yeah.
So Boston's gonna go move forward.
Like I said, and you said it, this series is turning into a boring series, but unfortunately, that's Philadelphia. I'm not saying they're totally bad, but you can no longer trust the process. Now you have to move forward and act on it.
Yeah. Let's see. Let's go to the champions of last year, Toronto Raptors, against the Brooklyn Nets. Right now, they're on a sweeping mode too. They're leading their series 3-0. Before I'm doing this episode right now, but my first episode, I said that the Toronto Raptors, for me, are the underrated team again. I don't know why they keep disrespecting this team. This team plays well. I know they miss Kawhi, but that doesn't look like they miss Kawhi a lot. Like, they got Pascal. They Kyle, the coach of the year.
Yep, the coach of the year, Nick Nurse.
Yeah, so, hey, that team can actually go again to the NBA Finals
Let me tell you what, Ricky,
without Kawhi.
Let me tell you what. That is my team to win the East and face either the Lakers or the Clippers. I have the Toronto Raptors winning and defending the East crown. This year, I think, like you said, it doesn't look like this team missed Kawhi Leonard, and that's big to say. Pascal Siakam has turned into a superstar. You have obviously Kyle Lowry, great, solid player, but also you have Fred VanVleet that has, step up and continue what he did last year in the playoffs, especially after the Milwaukee series when Milwaukee went on that, run on the first two games winning, and then, you saw, Toronto sweeping basically to win the series in the East 4-2. You have Marc Gasol, which is a good, solid player. Even though he's a nice veteran over 10-plus years of playing, but he's a dominant player, really offensive. Anunoby, he was my fantasy pick.
Yeah.
And he was really solid for me and dominating as well. And Serge Ibaka, that's a good team. Basically,
they're playing well.
The only player that they didn't have from last year is Kawhi Leonard. So I don't know why people were, in a way, not having even Toronto giving them the respect. But for me, this is the team that I picked for winning the East, basically winning again against the Milwaukee Bucks. But
even though I'm rooting, yeah, exactly. So for me, even though I'm rooting for the Lakers to get to the finals, but it'll be crazy to see the Clippers against Toronto, and then Toronto beat them in the finals.
You're saying you want, you're saying you basically want like a Houston OKC type of scenario in the finals. That would be nice to play. If that happens, I'm rooting for Toronto to win. Rooting for that, team effort type of team. But let's see what happens. This year is going to be really interesting, Ricky, about how the players are going to go. I think that being on this neutral side in Walt Disney World is benefiting the NBA, because now you're displaying the true nature. But at the same time, you are also noticing, at least in the first few games, and let's see how the the playoffs turn out to be. But now you're noticing how impactful having your home court is actually in the
Yeah.
playoffs. Having
You
that
notice
energy
sometimes
from the
when you
fans.
actually need a push from the crowd when you're down 10 in situations like that, you get that little bump to like motivate you to get up again. So now it's gonna be all mental.
Exactly.
Now it's all mental.
Exactly.
So that's why I'll be honest with you. I'm actually really excited for this playoff. This playoff could be one of the best ever, just because it's all actually about basketball. Like really, like the mindset of like it's all in your head. Like what you have to do. Like it's actually great on having this neutral site, and you can see who can win at the end.
Exactly. Exactly. And moving forward, couple of headlines that can impact series. Like you said, Ricky. Congratulations to the Toronto Raptors coach Nick Nurse on winning the 2019-2020 Coach of the Year. Well deserved.
Yep.
With the talent that he has, and having your superstar, one of the top three players in the league right now, leaving your team and going back and being so dominant, well deserved for him. Luka Doncic, questionable for Game 4. That's really, really important, especially if he cannot clear and being available for Game 4. How that will be impactful for the
Yeah, I was
series
reading those
itself.
notes right now. I'm like, whoa. I know he got hurt yesterday, so
Exactly.
let's
So
see.
it's something that we can keep an eye on in terms of how that's going to impact the series, and obviously the
Going
big
forward.
fish on the pond on this tonight, Lakers and Blazers.
Who you got in
How
this game? Who you got? Who you got
to
today?
be honest with you, I'm going with Lakers. I think that they are starting to get in a groove. Game 2 wasn't a coincidence the way that they dominated, especially having Damian Lillard having or suffering. I don't know how he's going to bounce back from that injury from the hand. Let's see
Yeah.
how he comes and performs. But I have the Lakers winning Game 3. Anthony Davis being the beast that he's been so far. Let's see. I'm reading a quote right now from this matchup, and Litter has give an update about his injury with the hand and the finger, and
Mhm.
he's stating that it is just sore, a little bit tender to the touch, so that's going to affect his capability of shooting and everything like that. So having a dislocated
Yeah, he had
finger,
to adapt
yeah,
to
so
learn to shoot
you
to
know
shoot like that.
exactly. So it's going to be interesting. But I have the Lakers winning Game 3, and making the series a little bit more normal itself. Let's see how, like I said on the recap with the Lakers and Blazers, let's see how the role players perform in Game 3.
Yeah.
If they do so in like they did in Game 2, Game 3 is going to be for the Lakers. But if not, I think this series is going to be how the role players for the Lakers come. If they play good, they're going to win. If not, Blazers
Yep.
can take it away.
So before I move forward with the playoffs, let me actually get your take on the NBA draft lottery. A little quick take. So yeah,
Oh,
right.
yes.
So we had to talk about the draft. This
Oh,
is funny
yes.
though. Poor New York Knicks. I thought they could get that number 1, but at least number 2, right? Or number 3, or number 4. Nope.
That could
No
have
number 5. Maybe 6.
Yep.
Oh, 7. No, they got all the way to the 8th. Oh, New York Knicks. That's my dad's favorite team. I'm like, poor dad. All my prayers for them.
I mean, it couldn't be the Knicks if it wasn't like it played. Congratulations once again to the Minnesota Timberwolves having that first pick. Everybody was worried, with the Warriors. You know, could they actually win